So happy 427, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about a little bit of the history and the background of some of the 427s that have been installed in Camaros over the years. So we're all familiar with the first generation Camaros that had 427s put in them. A little bit of background, which is, in my opinion, fun. But before that, I'm by no means an expert. I'm sure there's, some corrections to be made here and there. So just know that I'm not an expert, and I always invite people to do their own research, mostly because I personally find it fun to just read about things that went on um, before my time, as they say. So for starters, one of the options that people don't talk about a whole lot is the Copo 9737. So in 67 and 68, or at least 68, I'm pretty sure, um, Don Yinko was installing 427 Camaros in a 396 equipped car. So he would order via 9737 Copo order a big block 396 car that had a few options that made it a Copo, a central office production order. And when he would get them, he would convert them into his SYC cars, the Yinko SYC cars that we're so familiar with. But he was self-installing a 427 in it. So after a while, people started to catch on, and I guess there was an approach to Chevrolet because of drag racing at the time, and the Mustangs had 428s in them, blah blah blah. So a person by the name of Fred Gibb, look him up, approached Chevrolet for the all aluminum ZL1 427 via Copo 9560. Um, Interesting story there. Again, do some research on it. It's kind of cool, or well, not kind of cool in his case. Apparently, there was a little bit of a miscommunication about between him and Chevrolet about what the price was going to be. So he ordered 50 cars with the aluminum 427 via Copo 9560. After the cars started to slowly trickle in, um, he was reportedly hit with a bill. Chevrolet was kind of passing on some of the engineering involved to him. Well, that ends up upping the price of the car, and they were hard to sell. So he got 50 of them in his lot, but he ended up having to send quite a few of them back, and they were redistributed across other dealers across the country that would take in an order. So there's 50, and we all know that there were 69 of them built. So 50, and then some of them got sent back and dispersed across the country, and then there were also another 19 that other dealers were ordering. Now, the cheaper option for a 427 at the time, again via Don Yinko, is a 9561, which that's still a 427, but it's a iron version of it. That engine ends up being a little cheaper. And what happened is Don Yinko basically went back to Chevrolet and like, look, man, I'm installing these 427s in them myself. Could you guys just give me one? I don't want that really expensive one, but I still do want a 427. So he gets his 9561 iron block 427s. And those are the cars that we all know and love with the Yinko stripes and all that stuff. So there's the ones that people generally know about. The one that people, and I say one, the one that people generally don't know about is the 9567. Now that is a detuned version of the 427s that were designed to be a little less, basically a little less rowdy. Um, if you do a little research on it, the 9567 ends up being a concept car. It never makes it to production, and it is the car that officially has ZL1 on it, ZL-1. You can look it up. It's a concept car. It was black and gold. There was a little bit of controversy whether there was one or two of them built, because in the pictures the concept shows one of them has color matched bumpers, one of them has chrome bumpers, but all that I could find is that it was actually the same car, and just parts swapped out to see which one looked best. And it does look like a pretty good car. It just turns out when it was all said and done, the car was going to cost like $8,500, which bearing in mind 1969, that's a lot of money, especially for I guess people even say that today. I could buy XYZ for that amount of money. So you're paying $8,500 for a 427 powered Camaro when you could have a Corvette instead, or what have you. You probably go buy a Hemi Cuda or whatever. So that car never makes it past the concept phase, right? And then once you get past the 60s, there was a company called Baldwin Motion. Again, kind of a performance shop, dealer, blah, blah, blah. So they were actually more famous for doing the 454 Camaros. So again, an engine that was not originally installed in a Camaro, another company was doing it. So that's the what takes the place of the Camaros that from the first gen, right? So they were doing them. The Baldwin Motions they did do first gen Camaros, but at least in my opinion, I think they're most famous for doing the 70 to 73 with the big giant white stripe down the side and on the hood and everything, and the big old side pipes, right? So moving on, you don't really see a 427, whether, and I don't want to get into a political discussion, but the gas prices, emissions, blah, blah, blah. So you get more into my territory, which is the Fortune Camaros, and a company by the name of GMMG. I don't know what it stands for. I don't think really anybody knows what it stands for, but the company's called GMMG, GMMG Incorporated. So look them up. There is a really cool website. It's gmmgregistry.com. Has all the info you'll ever need about GMMG cars. So there was, a Dick Harrell Camaro. There was a Berger SS. Berger, if you're familiar with, old dealerships, they're, one of the oldest and one of the best for performance cars. Hot Rod Edition, Performance Edition, the list goes on. There's a bunch of cars. Well, interestingly enough, some of those cars came with 427s. Again, they were not originally installed with 427s from the factory. They were, cars that were built at the factory in Canada, I forget the name, St. Therese, I think, and shipped over. And they were converted to the supercar, the GMMG supercars, and some of them got the Phase 3 package, which was a 427. Now, and I'll show some pictures here in a minute, my favorite one of the lot is the Dick Harrell Camaro. If you have a chance, look it up. It's an amazing looking car. It's really, really high up there on the bucket list of things I'd like to own one day. If you get a chance, Google the Jim Smith collection. He's got, and actually it's on that GMMG registry website anyway. Look those up. But again, you see a 427 come into play, and they have the ZL1 and the Berger SS. It really harks back to the old days. There's a lot of homage in the cars that are built by GMMG. Even some of the colors that they're painted were original colors from the 60s, which is really cool. Particularly the green one. I'm in love with it. And so that's kind of the end because, obviously after 2002, the Camaro gets discontinued. And we don't really see anything when the Camaro gets reintroduced in 2010, or resold in 2010, not introduced in 2010. There are a couple concepts here and there that people build, and I think GM even built one eventually with LS7 in it. But nothing really ever comes of that until the COPO program. So the COPO program was introduced at SEMA as you sign a sheet saying, yes, I'm a drag racer and I want a COPO. So it is an homage to the COPO cars from back in the day. And basically, GM builds you a certified drag car, non-street legal car to go racing with. One of the engines is a 420, happens to be a 427. Really cool program. If I'm not mistaken, 2012 was the first year. If memory serves right, I think it was introduced at SEMA in 2011, and then 2012 they started taking orders and selling cars, and that continued until, I don't know if they're doing it this year in 2021, but last year they were still building the COPO cars. So who knows what's going to happen with that program going forward. But before present day, the latest car to come with a 427 is that one right there. In 2014, the Z28 was introduced with the 427 LS7 from the Corvette Z06. And that's the car I have. So that car is relatively new, so I'm sure a lot of people know a lot of things about it. If you don't, look it up. Great track car. I love it. It's a dry sump 427, great for road racing, revs to the moon and back. Love it. So there's a brief history of the 427 engines being stuffed in between the fenders of a Camaro. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any feedback, let me know. Like I said, I'm sure there is plenty of more information out there about 427s and Camaros. That's just some little random tidbits to get you through the day. Otherwise, look up some information. I highly encourage it. It's always a good read to look at what these guys were doing to make fast big block cars back in the day. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.